listening to
A to the K.
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 A to the K. WrestleTalk podcast.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.
And we're back with another week of A to the K's WrestleTalk podcast. You are here with Podder Shango. It's me, Anthony. And joining me, as always, it's the Podfather.
Oh,
Carl.
yeah. Well, do you know what, Anthony? Pod name, easy, man. Pod name, easy, man. So all you baddies, it is us, the Pod Daddies. And we know we ain't the only ones. Any other pods up in this house? That's right. We're back.
Fantastic.
And we welcome you once again to your favorite podcast, A to the K. Oh, yeah.
Amazing. That's some quality work there,
Why
Carl.
not? Why not? Have a bit of
Why not?
Godfather. Exactly.
So, guys, as you know, as you've come to know, because obviously you are our dedicated followers, you're here every week with us, we are going to cover the Ringside Report. We're going to tell you all about the latest news and rumours coming up this week in wrestling. We are going to cover this week in wrestling, which we'll talk about the big four shows being Raw, NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown. And then this week, Carl, we're going to end our show with the, apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Carl, the A to the Canies.
It is the A to the K.
A to the Canies. Our year, it's the end of the year, so we're doing our awards,
It is.
you know, which is an accolade that many wrestlers want. They're all
Well,
going to
that's it,
proudly
you know.
display the trophy that we're clearly not going to send them. But
you know,
we
wrestlers might want a Slammy, they might want an Oscar, they might want a Grammy, they might want a Tony. Well, the A to the K is exactly what, you know, everyone really wants, shall we
Yeah.
say. So,
I mean, I didn't realize there was already a Tony Awards, because I did recommend that as what we would call these, you know, after.
well,
after
that was the only
good
reason I
stuff.
shot it down, you know. It's
Yeah,
just,
But apparently they already exist. My bad.
Mm.
But yeah, no, it should be a good one. And obviously, you know, it's one of them where opinions will differ, but we're going to give you ours.
Oh, yeah. Whether you
So-
like it or not. See that?
Nice,
We know,
nice.
week on week.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we
Quality stuff. So we'll start with the Ringside Report. And Carl, it's your turn to do the
do. My
headline.
turn. Let's see how you've sabotaged me this week. Okay. Coming up tonight in the Ringside Report. What's up, Doc? An update on why Doc Gallows hasn't been seen on Impact Wrestling. Fred Rosser reveals he was turned down by AEW. Main roster talent heading back to the Performance Center? ? Vince McMahon is big on Riddle. Some AEW stars are unhappy with comments made by Jim Ross. An update on Joey Ryan's Impact lawsuit. WWE's latest Performance Center talent signings include former Impact stars. And lastly, the Dark Side of the Ring have confirmed that China's episode is no longer happening. Sad times. All that and more coming up right now.
So the first one, Carl, and sadly not very informative, unfortunately, but piques a bit of interest, I suppose. Doc Gallows has been absent from the most recent Impact tapings.
Mm-hmm.
It's said that he's going to be absent for up to 6 weeks, I believe. Have they said 6 weeks? You're goddamn right they have. And obviously this has led to why. I'll tell you why, Carl. He has been out of action due to being involved in some tapings for some acting roles. Now, what we don't know is what kind of project he's currently working on.
Well, word on the grapevine, Anthony.
Oh, I
is
like it, Carl.
actually
That's a
going
great
to be
line.
seeing Festus the movie.
Fantastic. I mean, the film we all want to see. You know. Yeah.
That's why you got to have YouTube, guys. You're missing the gold.
Missing the goal.
Missing the goal.
But yeah, so we don't fully know what the acting role is. I mean, obviously, he looks like a great actor from some of the stuff we saw him do, where he pretended to be a doctor on WWE. You can clearly see the acting chops there. So let's look forward to seeing what that is, and hopefully we have him back soon, because obviously we've got this, not to speculate, but we've got this building sort of stuff now between Impact and AEW. Could we see Gallows and Anderson going up against the likes of the Young Bucks.
Well, interestingly, on this week's Impact, Anthony, we saw Kenny Omega being approached by Carl Anderson. So,
Interesting.
you know, it would have been a little bit more impactful if Mr. Gallows was there himself as well. But, you know, interesting. Sowing the seeds.
Interesting indeed. And you've got to sow the
Definitely sowing
seed.
the seeds. Those
So-
young seeds.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid
Speaking of Darren Young.
Oh, jeez.
So speaking of Darren Young, who is now known as Fred Rosser. Fred Rosser. He has revealed, in fact, that unfortunately AEW is not interested in him. It's a bit shit, isn't it? So he said on Twitter that he was told nope twice by the promotion, but his goal has always been with New Japan anyway. He wrote, "I get asked a lot why not AEW. Well, I tried and I was told nope. Not. What? Nope, not. But what? Dude, learn how to tweet. That makes no sense."
No, that's poetic. I was told nope, not. But what?
I was told nope, not. But what? Besides, AEW wasn't my end goal. It's always been New Japan Pro Wrestling, no matter what. Don't ever get overwhelmed and decide to throw in the towel. I've still got a lot of work to do. Well, exactly. Of course you do. If you want to get hired by AEW, you dickhead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, it's one of them.
Couldn't agree more. You dickhead. Yeah.
Oh, like could he have been like useful in the AEW? Yeah, but I mean, currently at the minute, what are they working on? They're working on the women's roster. That's what they need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Do they need more people? Like, all due respect to them, do they need more people for AEW Dark?
Well, yeah. I mean, put it this way: we had Matt Cardona not being, deemed.
I know he wasn't signed.
Yeah,
he's like
so,
best mates with Cody.
Exactly. If you're not signing Matt Cardona, you're not signing fucking Fred Rosser.
Rosser.
So yeah.
No offense, Fred.
Yeah, no offense, Fred.
But we wish you luck in all your future endeavors.
Yeah. Oh, too soon.
So my next one, Carl, is an interesting one because it covers essentially Vince has thrown, I'll call it a hissy fit, over some of the big guys, which is not typical of Vince. He normally loves big men. And he's sending a few of them back to the Performance Center. Now, this isn't as drastic as it sounds. They're not not going to be seen on TV, but these are people who are on the main roster who are now having to attend some level of training on their own craft. And these are people, like some of the names, Carl, will surprise you. I mean, Keith Lee being the biggest name on there, who's been quite prominent on Raw, and he's done quite well. I mean, he's done better on NXT, but certainly no reason to go, yeah, you need to go back to the Performance Center. It's fucking awful. But he's mentioned also the likes of Otis, Dabba-Kato, Mace of Retribution, AJ Styles, not AJ Styles, his bodyguard.
Some of these big guys, AJ
Styles, the big bodyguard fella that AJ Styles has got, because he had a ton of screen time and just didn't utilize it. So they obviously want to go back and work on his in-ring skills and his mic skills and such. So it makes a lot of sense to send him back. But yeah, it just seems like a bit of an odd step, especially because, and again, all due respect, they're being taught by is it Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I don't know. I don't think they've had a prominent enough role on the main roster to be given this kind of shit, to be honest with you. Well,
yeah, I think
for them it's just going to a course, isn't it? It's like getting done for speed and say, I'll go and do a course.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will apologize because I was reading my article in advance. So I'm not sure if you said Keith Lee is one of your names.
Yeah, he's the main one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, sorry. So that is the one that kind of surprises me the most because Keith Lee is a fantastic worker. And,
yes,
fine, he is a heavy-set fellow or a tall, big fellow, which is what seems to be...
Eccentric British Carl, though. He's a heavy-set fellow.
He's heavy-set. Like that AJ Styles fellow. But no, he's, one of the bigger guys. And, yeah, so... I don't know. It's weird because I don't think he needs the level of training or anything like that of some of the other guys that were mentioned here, because he's honed his craft on the indie scene for a while now, and I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. And I think your point, Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak is the one to train the big men.
I think it's about big men.
Yep.
Don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, it's not like they're being pulled off TV or anything. They're just doing these. I don't even know how many there are, but they're just doing these sort of training sessions. So it's not as drastic as it does sound, but it does, unfortunately, make you wonder about the confidence that they have in these particular characters.
Well, Vince is a crazy, crazy man, and he changes his opinion on a weekly basis. And do you know what?
He struggles
Anthony?
to remember who's who, so he's probably not even sure who he sent down there, to be honest.
Well, that's it, to be fair. He's probably like, hey, Shelton, because that is the thing, and that's happened before. But speaking of Vince and his crazy ways, Anthony, so do you want to hear what Vince McMahon's opinion is of Matt Riddle? Sorry, Riddle. We can't call him Matt anymore because
we can't call him Matt anymore.
Terrible.
Yeah, go on then.
Well, so basically, our buddy Dave Meltzer. Hey, Dave. Sorry, I'll do an Orange Cassidy one. He's noted that Vince McMahon really likes Riddle, and he thinks the original bro
Goes to saying, I love a good riddle.
is very funny in his own weird way. And he added, even though McMahon doesn't understand Riddle's gimmick, which is inspired by Sean Penn's character in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
I fucking love it.
he really likes Riddle's character and thinks it's unique and funny. And this is a quote from Meltzer. He just doesn't get the bro thing, but he thinks it's funny. So we got to keep him on TV. So that is what Vince McMahon has come to, apparently.
He's making noises, and I like it.
Well, exactly. I mean, to be fair, what are your thoughts on Riddle? Because for me, he, like the last few weeks, I don't know, some of the stuff he's done has been quite comedic, I would say. Like that.
I prefer what they're doing with him now, that they're building them to more than just a stereotype. Like, I wasn't like annoyed by it. I didn't dislike him as a character, but when he was just your typical like surfy stoner guy, as they are, like, dude, I don't know. It just kind of, I didn't even do his quote, bro.
That's like, dude.
It's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. But when he was playing that sort of that like massive stereotype, it was like, well, okay, but now they're fleshing it out where he's actually more comedic backstage, and he's like, I don't know, he's got like this weird sort of, I don't know if I'm saying, like, forgive me if you sort of disagree on this because I don't know if I'm articulating it properly, but like he's kind of like almost like he just wants to be friends with people, like softer kind of character backstage. So he's like, and that's what amused me, because he was trying to be friends with MVP, and then he was doing the thing with the bro nuts and just stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, it just the character he is backstage is probably more amusing than what he's doing in the ring, in all fairness.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. His backstage work is interesting. That's where the kind of comedy lies. I think, to your point, once he gets in the ring, he just kind of jumps up and kicks off his shoes. But then, other than that, he's just he's a solid worker, isn't he?
That being said, I saw a video recently of him sort of talking about Goldberg, which is fucking brilliant. Did you see that?
Well, that rivalry's been going on for a while now. But
I know. Did you see it though?
Yeah, I did.
It was ace. Guys, watch it.
Basically, he hates Goldberg, and Goldberg hates him. So
no, he doesn't hate Goldberg though.
No, but he does.
The only way he's going to get a match with Goldberg is if he lets him book it where he totally destroys him and wins, because that's the only way he's going to win, is if it's booked that way.
Well, I mean,
fucking A, Riddle. Yeah.
I mean, it's true. Could definitely be interpreted as hate, though. To be fair,
it's a different kind of love.
A bro kind of love, a bromance, if you will. That's it. Oh, that is it. That is the storyline. Goldberg, Riddle, bromance.
It's like, I love it because like Goldberg's there on like different media platforms at the minute. Like, who's next? And it's like, Roman's next. It's like, what about this guy? No, not him. Like, yeah, fucking not, is it?
Not him, because he would beat the fucking shit out of him. So yeah.
So my next one, Carl. Speaking of beating the shit out, no, it doesn't work. My next one, Carl, is Jim Ross is apparently taking a little bit of heat from the AEW roster at the moment. You heard about this?
Have.
Good.
You heard about
Right.
this? It's not like the old like comedy actor that you heard about this? Heard about this
And
thing
Lemmy
going on
David
right now?
Letterman there.
Yeah.
Or is it Leno? Ah,
One of
whatever.
them.
Anyway.
Some shit American
Ooh.
TV host. That's right. You heard it. Leno, Letterman, you both shit.
Controversial. But basically, he had in one of his recent podcasts, he's mentioned about current generation of wrestlers, and he's basically, to paraphrase, he said that they do too much in the ring, and he specifically referred to these spots when there's a particularly high spot and everyone's huddles around to catch them, and he's sort of putting that kind of thing down. And sort of connecting it to the new generation of wrestlers, like that shit never happened in the past. Mankind just found the table, no one caught him, that kind of stuff, right? And basically, Wrestling News reached out to some AEW stars. Now, they wouldn't disclose which stars, obviously, but they've sort of reached the point where they're saying, well, there's quite a few stars who are not happy with the comments he's made, and they've got a couple of quotes here. One of them saying, like, look, I know that there's a lot that JR can teach us, but burying us on his show or podcast is only going to make some of us ignore what he says, which, okay, that might be a fair point. But how do you feel? What do you think of this, Carl? I mean, he is a veteran in the industry, but do you think he's being particularly unfair to the new generation of wrestlers, or the new style, or the new approach to these sort of spots? Because you do have to be a lot safer nowadays, but that's just common sense, Jim.
You know what? I think the talent have got a point. I think his job as being a seasoned veteran of a former head of talent relations is not to go public and say the kids of today is shit, because
Well, yeah.
effectively that's what he's done. And by all accounts, his position in AEW is not just an announcer. He is backstage working on a lot of things as well, including talent development. So I completely get where they're coming from. But at the same time, I can't disagree with him, because the amount of times we see them spots where outside, they're all huddled together and they're all like, oh, and we're waiting for someone to do a big run across the ring, a big run back and jump up. And it's like, so he's not wrong, but at the same time, I think he could be more, I don't know, I think he could articulate his feelings a bit better than kind of just burying them on a public forum, maybe.
Yeah, I'd agree. Sadly, he's not known for not tripping over his own words. So maybe don't have a podcast for a bit. I don't know. I actually enjoy your podcast. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, maybe don't be on commentary for a bit if that's the fucking rule. Jesus. Anna J, remember that?
Oh, geez.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so it as simple as that, Carl. He's getting a bit of heat from the roster itself now, and hopefully it doesn't cause any great problems, because I do enjoy having JR back in commentary. It irks back to my own childhood with wrestling. And yeah, I think I'm with you. The roster's comments are fair. He shouldn't really be doing that at this point.
No. So Anthony,
he shouldn't be doing that at this point.
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh.
We've got an update on Joey Ryan's Impact Wrestling lawsuit. So back in September, way back when, Joey Ryan filed a lawsuit in the Circuit Court of Davidson County against Anthem Wrestling, who obviously were the owners of Impact at the time. And basically he said that they breached his contract because he was fired in June. And so therefore he's seeking damages of $10 million. So yeah, he was fired after at least 17 sexual abuse allegations were levied
Fucking
against
Anthem. God damn it.
17. But yeah, so he's obviously now basically filing against that, saying that it was unlawful, etc., etc. But yeah, so
okay, Joey, sure.
Yeah, so Anthem have obviously responded and denied all of Ryan's allegations against them. The company argued that his contract was for 2 years unless earlier terminated. Therefore, they've called that out and claimed that Ryan has misstated his exhibits, including his contact with Impact Wrestling and Anthem. So yeah, so bit of a...
Interesting. Do you think he'll get anywhere with this lawsuit?
I mean, I don't know, 17 counts.
I know. To be honest, I think just the sheer amount he's asking for, I think is unrealistic from Anthem.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I can't see this.
$10 million for damages, like for what? A couple of months on your contract? You're not worth that much, mate. So
And that's the thing. Like, what were you contracted for? Let's
Mhm.
start there.
yeah. What would you have missed out on? Okay, still not that amount. What's defamation? Okay, we'll add that. Still, no, not there. Okay.
Can they even give him defamation? I don't quite know how these things work, but the allegations weren't made by Anthem.
Mhm.
They reacted to them, and you could say rightly or wrongly because he hadn't been found guilty of them, but they reacted to them, and he lost out on money from work. But I mean, I don't know. I suppose like it almost from a media point of view, like, oh, they've done that, so he must be guilty. I don't know. Like, you probably could put defamation in there. I'm not a lawyer. What are we talking about?
I mean, I don't know, but I would happily listen to this podcast. Simple.
Nice. So so it'd be interesting one to sort of interesting one to keep track on. It's quite sad really as well, isn't it? In all fairness. Speaking of quite sad, in all fairness, that doesn't work either. None of these are working this week. So my next one, Carl, is the Performance Center have notably signed some new talents. WWE, obviously. Now, this was sort of predicted or mentioned in one of our previous newses, but two of the names that are notable were Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, both former Impact stars, both members of the Rascals. Now, we mentioned this trio not too long back that they are. I think they made some sort of public comment that they're ready to go to WWE. It's done and dusted. They just need to sign on that line, kind of stuff. The interesting thing about this, Carl, aside from the fact that we're just providing you all this good information about the Performance Center, is noticeably absent from the list of names was Trey Miguel, who is the third member of the Rascals. So it seems that they might not have signed the whole team. Speculative, albeit like it could just be that he's not at the PC now, or I don't know if there's any reason to propel him beyond the PC straight away. But his name is absent from this list of names. So it leads you to wonder, is that the Rascals done and dusted, Carl?
I mean, you'd feel pretty shit if you were the one left off, wouldn't you? Like, oh, you're taking us all with you, except you. We don't want you.
It's like everyone's getting on the bus and like, wait, this guy's with you? No.
We didn't agree to that. Yeah, I don't know. I think because they've all left at the same time, so therefore you would assume it was because of some sort of guarantee that they would be having some work elsewhere. You wouldn't
That's
just
the
go.
thing. It seems
I'm
a really
leave
odd omission
and see what happens. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you never know what's agreed behind the scenes, but it just seems like an unusual omission. Seeing or be believing, but at the minute, they don't appear to have all the Rascals, just a couple of the little Rascals,
The little Rascals.
So, speaking of Rascals, Carl.
Okay, we can work with it.
Whatever.
So, China, she was a rascal, wasn't she? Back on the day. So, we've got an update. So, it was talked about a while ago that we may see an episode of the Dark Side of the Ring, the popular documentary series that featured China as the kind of lead. And apparently, according to the Wrestling Inc.'s daily interview series documenting China, China's friend and former manager has said that they approached him about being part of an upcoming documentary, but he said they're putting it out on Vice. It's the Dark Side of the Ring 2-hour version. They want me so bad because they know the story isn't told without me, but I am not giving them the rights. They claim they still have the rights because I signed a release when I did my sit down, but I'm not giving them the rights. So, weird,
And
I guess.
it seems there may be some point to what he's saying because they've since sort of pulled the suggestion that they were going to do the episode, haven't they?
Yeah, it seems like, it's done, which is, I don't know, it's something that everyone kind of wanted to see. I think Dark Side of the Ring posted like, what do you want to see in the next series? And China came up like as probably top of the polls on that one, so they were definitely pursuing it. But yeah, I think they've, since they've come out and said, there's no plans for an episode about China. At the start of pre-production, we became aware of multiple projects that were currently in production about China, and though ultimately we decided against pursuing this as a future subject. So,
So I wonder if that's a permanently done thing or just for this season.
I mean, I'm interested to see what future projects, because I don't think WWE are planning to put anything out.
That's the thing. Yeah, it makes you wonder what they're referring to.
Mm.
And I always feel weird about Dark Side of the Ring because I'm like, I'd like to see that episode, but then that's sad, isn't it? Like that. Yeah. I'd like to see what happened there, because obviously these are behind the scenes and sadly never really happy tales, are they? So
No. And I think as well,
weird wanting it, but at the same time, it is kind of morbidly fascinating, isn't it?
Not to ruin our relationship with Triple H, which we have and is quite strong, and trips. But obviously,
this isn't A to the K talking to Triple H. This is Carl and Anthony talking to Paul Levesque.
Yeah, I am Paul Levesque. Yeah, I remember having the VHS a while ago of It's Our Time with Triple H in China, and finding out for real that was when kayfabe was broken, that they were a real couple, and they were there talking about stuff and seemed very happy. He was like, that's the heat when you when you let the trash get all the way to the top. That's the heat, and he was talking about obviously them living together and him not putting out the trash without letting it go all the way to the top and struggling, and weird things like
Fantastic.
that. And that to me was like, okay, so they are a couple then. And then literally months later, it was like, okay, China's gone, Triple H with Steph now, and it was just like, well, oh shit, I don't know.
We know famous Triple H line: he did what was best for business.
Oh yeah, he did what was best for business.
And then kayfabe wasn't broken anymore. He kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, legally married her in Vegas, and now they have children together, and everything's wonderful.
Yeah. Was she sedated for that? Who knows?
Who knows? Sorry, we digress slightly, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a pleasant sort of tale. We all know how it ends, sadly, but it is one it'd be a fascinating one for Dark Side of the Ring, and I do hope they revisit it at some point.
Yeah, same. I'm interested to see what's left, because they had they've had a lot of good episodes so far. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next. I think it's a fantastic series.
It is, yeah.
And Anthony, that seems to be it for this week's Ringside Report.
That's the Ringside Report. It's over. Another week done.
Another week done.
Monopoly Events presents For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, back in Liverpool, the Exhibition Centre, between the 15th and 16th of May. Guests this year include Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, the Icon, the Showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, 3-time WWE champion, 3-time TNA champion. Things are about to get extreme with Jeff Hardy. 7 times women's champion, Diva of the Decade and Hall of Fame star Trish Stratus. Grand Slam winner and the wrestling god, John Bradshaw Layfield. These and many, many more will be joining us in Liverpool. Find us on Facebook at For the Love of Wrestling. Visit our website, fortheloveofwrestling.co.uk. For tickets for entry and guests, visit ticketquarter.co.uk. That's ticketquarter.co.uk. For the Love of Wrestling. By the fans, for the fans.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa and you're watching or listening A to the K.